Great Ananishani, great dawn, great moon, great peace. It is about 2 a.m. nearing Central Standard Time, going on in the morning. So it is early. And I also want to just delve into a quick summation about the U.S. drug deaths as it is reported by the Disease Control Center. And I want to talk about the U.S. workforce now and the U.S. gross domestic product and its statistic reporting as far as the ratio. Now, before I get into all that, I was just looking at Bloomberg, and there was a guy on there named ጄ Myers. I guess he's German, so he's based out there in the Emirates. And as I was looking at the numbers going up, going down, I'm just thinking to myself, Americans, they really need to be throwing away that USD and pushing for currency reform. And that should be their sole get as the new president gets ready to take office here, because whoever that is going to make waves around the world. All right, so let's just knock this out real quick. This U.S. drug death right here, this number is very low. All right, and House reps around America are pushing for drug reform. They're trying to get drugs into the House of Americans at a cheap cost. They're blinding them by saying you can get this drug, you can get this drug for this price, this drug, it won't cost you anything. And so we already know, dealing with the law of 9 and it being the recycling number at 10, going back from 1 to 9. You don't want to buy anything that is gifted to you at such a cheap price and you have to ingest it, because it's probably going to mismanage your health. You're probably going to get further into a diseased state. So you should be pushing for drug reform. But unfortunately, they're doing that for Americans, and I'm not sure who's even asking for that. There needs to be more clarity on that. So, all right, this right here, U.S. workforce now. This number right here to the U.S. gross being reported by the Congressional Budget Office, there's a widening ratio of like 1 to 7. All right, so I just want to ask Americans, like, if you're just one of them people who think you need job creation, you're listening to what the lieutenant governor is saying at these events on job-related matters, do you really think you need jobs? Because they're saying we're going to bring car industry back, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Black Americans alone, they make a investment profit off of arts, literary, university, entertainment, folktale, you name it. They make a great deal of investment off of all of these industries that we know of, right? Just imagine if there was only one person in the workforce in America with this rapid pace of U.S. gross domestic product. You really think it's going to stop? All right, we know the arithmetic, the law of arithmetic. We know the law of hydrogen. We know the law of oxygen. All right, this number right here is on pace to outpace what is happening with the U.S. workforce as it is reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We don't need job creation. If you're a governor, your lieutenant governor, your mayor, if they're talking about job creation, you need to be holding their feet to the fire. You need to be getting on them about that. Because right now, they're pushing lies in front of the public and no one is saying anything about it. That is unfortunate. Now, let me jump up here real quick. Now, this is Africa, and they're talking about dealing with reform on the malaria, the tuberculosis, female mutilation as far as their genitalias. They're talking about child mortality rates. They're talking about maternal and newborn rate. They're stressing it. All right. I don't know how they're going to solve all of the problems in the world as it relates to Africans not holding. And when I say Africans, I'm just talking about the common person. You see just wallying on by, right? Nobody, as far as us, we're not talking about these matters. We're talking about gossip in the streams. We're talking about gossip on television. We're talking about gossip at forums. Any media outtake, we're talking about worthless stuff. Like people shouldn't be talking about woman relationships with man. Man should be talking about man relationships with women. Like I feel like it's a distraction. We got all this stuff right here on our plate and we ain't addressing it. We ain't getting to it. All right, so you got all these general resolutions where they're calling for people to take action. Nobody's taking action on this. World Summit for Social Development and Beyond. All right, so there's so much anti-socialness going on right now. Like I don't know how we gonna be on pace to finish this out by 2063. All right, so generations just being thrown under the drain. All right, so right here, this again is the social and economic resolution as it deals with European matters and in their environmental protections, which we're going to talk about, and the transport of dangerous goods across international borders, international infrastructure, international road safety, international road vehicles. All right, so coming from Chicago, particularly the South Side, where you have a high school with a radius of like every 15 blocks, depending on which community you're in. You can basically see on any given day an instance of, and this has been spoken about before, where you have teenagers getting out at 3 p.m., walking through an alley, and you may see a crate not labeled hazardous, no latch on it, and it has an assembly of oil coil springs in it, firing pins, magazine rounds, and a assembly of different guns, or I should say weaponry. You don't want a case where this gets into the hands of teens and you have a spread throughout the community of safety issue. All right. This is a problem when you have the international community bringing up again, as far as 2019 provisions about the safety and precautions that needs to be taken by European nations in their unlawful transport of weapons across international borders. All right, now this is from February 16th, 2022. Now they're recalling decisions from 2019, 2020, and 2021. And this again was dated in February of 2022, but on the date of the 9th. So again, as we go back to what was said in the prior segment about the U.S. workforce and the budget on congressional meetings, we need to talk about this right here. Agenda item 15, regional cooperation. Let's make sure we understand what is happening on the international level and how it affects us on a state level. All right. I'll just leave that in the air. Salute.